a lot of protests going on recently. I think it is fantastic. I heard that you need like 3.5% of the population to resist authoritarianism. And I think we're definitely seeing that happen. Uh, I'd love to see like 5 to 7%, but either way, it is amazing. I'll be honest, I don't know that that'll be my thing. I definitely want to go out and do it because I want to have that on my bucket list to say that I went out and protested. But this is going to be my contribution, doing videos, learning about things like the PAL memo and trying to talk to people about it, trying to engage conversation, mostly among anti-Trump, anti-MAGA people. But I think one of the things that we can do collectively we should do, and I'm going to do a longer video on this, but I wanted to do a quick little TikTok on it because it's interesting. I went out this last week and I made some appointments to meet with people that I haven't seen since probably COVID. But these are people that I respect. I consider them friends, even though we haven't really spoken. Sometimes you just have those people in your life who, will always be in your life. You just love them and cherish their relationship, but you don't see them all the time. And we had drifted, but this was an opportunity to reconnect because some of them were my liberal or even moderate Democrat women friends, and then a couple of them. Both of them were male. They're both in their 50s, white men. One is actually active in politics, like that's his career, and then the other one is a business owner. They're both business owners, but it was interesting to talk to them. I was surprised, I'm not gonna lie. I don't get an opportunity to go out and talk to people that often, just where I live in a very rural, small, red state, but it was really important. I wanted to get a feel on what people are doing out there, how they're responding, what they feel like, and outside of, like, watching YouTube videos that, know me and use their algorithms to target my appetite and my taste. So I was shocked, I'm not gonna lie, at what I found, and again, I'm gonna do a larger video on this, but one thing I wanted to bring up and talk about because it was just surprising to me, was how much people are engaging or not disengaging with their MAGA friends and family. I mean, to the point where they go on vacation together, they have holidays together, they actively talk on the phone together. And I think I'm going to ask at least one, if not both of them, to come on the channel and do an interview with them because I thought it was fascinating to me because I have a completely different approach. And one thing that's really good about checking your own value system and questioning it is because sometimes it can solidify and even increase your feelings that like you're on the right path. So I really did question, like, am I going about this all wrong? And I spent the weekend talking to my mom about it and my husband and other people, but I really kind of prayed over it a little bit. And my gut just said that I feel like I'm really on the right track here. And so I want to get some feedback from you guys, but I also want to make my case. And here's the thing. I deeply, deeply love my family, especially my in-laws. I've been very lucky to have incredible in-laws, and I've always been felt very blessed to have them in my life. But the reality is that when people vote for Trump or MAGA, they are supporting a white nationalist, Nazi-esque regime that puts cruelty over people, puts hatred over love, and is voting against my right as a human being, but also as a woman, as a small business owner, to exist in a world where I can flourish. Not only all the other people like that suffer even more so than I do, but I think, just to bring it and make it personal is really the most important thing because I think what I found from people is it's hard for them to talk like, big picture and policies. They don't necessarily understand, all these aspects and nuances. They know how they feel. They don't understand how it works practically in the world. So I think making it personal is really the best way we can talk to our MAGA people, but also when I say talk to them, I mean talk to them to tell them that you're putting boundaries on your relationship. And until they're ready or willing to come to the table, not to debate politics, because that's what these people are doing. And when I asked them if they're changing any kind of hearts and minds, they used a very interesting word. They said, no, they're pretty calcified. I thought that was a great word, calcified. Why are you having conversations with them if they're calcified? I never got a clear answer on that. But when I do my longer video, I'll share what they did say and what my own take on that was. But the gist of it is, I think, putting boundaries around people you love is uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable, and it causes conflict in your family. And most people don't want to have conflict or don't want to be uncomfortable. But resistance to this movement is going to make us uncomfortable. We have to be uncomfortable. But more importantly, we need to make MAGA uncomfortable, because right now they're just so happy. I mean, yes, there are a small percentage of people who are thinking that I didn't vote for this, but there's also a majority of people who are loving what's happening. And these are generally the people who don't pay attention to the news, who aren't well educated, who want not, sorry, not, they're well educated on other things, but they're not well informed, is what I meant to say. I don't want to insult anybody and say people are uneducated, but just in this case, they're kind of ignorant when it comes to what's happening day to day, because they just choose not to watch anything and or believe any of the media. But I think until they're uncomfortable too, until people are uncomfortable in their day-to-day existence, there's really no reason to make any change, to move or to shift or to become uncalcified, right? Because they're happy. They're happy what they see, they like. They get to come and spend time with their friends and their family and spend time around the grandkids or spend time around their friends, go out and have dinner and drinks and go vacationing with you. And so they're not only happy because they believe that everybody wanted this, and they believe that they're in the majority, and they believe that they're seeing all of they're being validated, right? Validated and vindicated. And on top of it, they get to have access to you and to all that you hold dear. And yet it's the Democrats, it's the people who are fighting against this MAGA fascist regime. We're holding all this resentment and anger inside us when we spend time with these people, because they say shit that comes out of their mouth that makes us angry. They talk about how much they love the babies, and you want to scream at the top of your head, you're killing babies. Your choice to vote for this regime is putting children in harm's way, and so many of them are going to die because of this. And, or they say, I'm just such a patriot. And then you're thinking, but you vote for a regime that wants to, that is completely doing away with the Constitution. So how can you be like pro-America and then vote for this? So, we keep our mouths shut, and then we get angry and we sit in this frustrated state. And I've decided I'm not going to do that. I will not live like that. I will not allow my health to be affected by that. I will not be stressed. So my call to action for all of you is to tell people, I love you, I care about you, but until you're willing and ready to hear what is going on and not talk policies, but to understand what you've done, right? And then, hopefully if they change, willing to make up for it, pay penance by going out and speaking out against Donald Trump. There's a lot of people who have left MAGA and they make it their mission to speak out against that regime, that authoritarianism, and also the manipulation of what they've done, right, to make people hate Democrats. Really, this is more about hating Democrats than loving Trump in a lot of ways. But I think that this is the answer. We have to make people uncomfortable where they are for any real change to be affected. So I want you to consider that if you're engaging in relationships with MAGA, maybe it's time to disengage until they're ready to come to the table and have some real honest dialogue. All right, we'll talk more about it. Thanks for checking in.